Chille DeCastro gets pass in Maryland. Prosecutor declines to prosecute. Turtleboy attends holiday standout as a celebrity? Irish Demon answers Miss Mandy's demented claims again. Is she really going to the FBI? DeCastro makes journalistic prank calls. Plus surprises in the GoFundMe market? Nah, more of the same on this edition of Auditing Insanity. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Auditing Insanity Newscast. I'm Jim Finch and I'll be your host for 4 big stories tonight on Chille DeCastro, Miss Mandy, Irish Demon, and Turtleboy, plus a look at the GoFundMe market. Tonight we've got a combined newscast for Monday and Tuesday with a ton of big news and a lot of insanity from things beyond reason. Again. Now we're going to have a Berlin Wall of Silence as we ask you to focus on GoFundMe, DeCastro wins holiday. Jose Chille DeCastro's Justice for All Legal Battle for Accountability Fund took the GoFundMe crown for Labor Day, bringing in an enormous $20 donation and dominating even our own ongoing expenses account, which was dark for the holiday. DeCastro's win was the first donation for the month for the fund, which had gone 15 days without a donation. The fund was created seeking $100,000 in July after DeCastro was released from jail. The Alaska native stated that the purpose of the fund was to sue everyone involved with his arrest and conviction of obstructing an officer and interfering with a traffic stop that was later overturned on appeal. The YouTuber had originally attempted to motivate his fans to donate to the fund by promising to throw a giant party in Las Vegas for all of his followers who contributed to the fund after he won the multi-million-dollar lawsuit that the campaign would fund. Since making the promise, DeCastro said that he is no longer interested in suing Justice of the Peace Ann Zimmerman for convicting him of the crimes, as it would be too hard to strip her of her judicial immunity. In recent days, DeCastro has focused on a possible lawsuit against arresting officer Brandon Bork, who DeCastro says he has a good shot at stripping of qualified immunity. It's unclear if his statements relate to a new case or the existing lawsuit against the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, of which Bork is a party. The fund itself started out strong, but donations dried up quickly in July as DeCastro failed to capitalize on his release from jail, waiting several days after his release to go live or to pass the collection plate around, and then failed to keep up with any sustained reminders to his fan base that he was in need of donations, never mentioning the campaign and leaving it in the hands of random donations. Our own ongoing expenses fund won Monday with a $10 take from our Hate Watcher. The Hate Watcher took the day off, as we did, on the holiday. On that note, we won't be quiet about it, as we do need your support to continue the paper and the newscast badly, as level 1 monetization on YouTube's payouts are weeks away. So if you'd like to continue to force me to keep writing this dreadful column each day, we do have a GoFundMe of our own. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. Irish Demon answers Miss Mandy claims again. Those expecting peace and quiet over Labor Day weekend were disappointed as YouTubers Miss Mandy and Irish Demon re-engaged each other in their ongoing war because there was nothing else going on over the weekend. Miss Mandy apparently threatened to call the Federal Bureau of Investigation on Irish Demon because she felt unsafe as he kept appearing on panels and in private Discord voice chats where she made appearances. Demon has been angered because Miss Mandy attempted to serve as spokesperson for YouTuber The Triggered Limey late last year after Limey's health emergency put him in a coma. She allegedly attempted to raise money for a plane ticket to see Limey in the hospital despite having an expired passport. New to the story is Mandy attempting to throw Team Skeptic into the mix, as she claimed that Skeptic was Limey's real best friend, and the only reason Skeptic turned down her suggestion of going to be with Limey in England was the fact that he had COVID and could not travel, meaning Demon was the second choice to be with Limey in his dying days. Demon has called BS on this, as Mandy had also claimed to be a spokesperson for Limey's family as he was dying in the hospital, and she remained in the States. She spread various mistruths during that time and lost status with everyone in the anti-auditing world as she spiraled out of control during this time. Sunday and then Monday's Demon shows featured various secretly recorded audio conversations involving Mandy and Demon, a lot of gossip, and dance partner switching in on and off again wars, as previously hated and bemoaned members of the community were suddenly friends with each other again in a unified front against Mandy. In more Demon news, he says that he is not officially demonetized, as his channel can receive memberships and membership messages, but not super chats. His latest interaction with YouTube/Google left him with the conclusion it was an AdSense issue. AdSense is YouTube's company that provides payment to those who are monetized on YouTube and those who carry YouTube ads on their websites. Demon said that the issue may be that he had a specific AdSense account while he lived in Australia that he had to give up when he returned to Ireland due to AdSense's rules. While the Australia account was cancelled, it is apparently still listed within AdSense system and showing that he has two accounts. AdSense representatives have told him that they're working on a fix, but until such time his account is straightened out, those wishing to support him should do so via PayPal donation. In a cute moment at the start of his Monday live stream, Demon showed that his girlfriend had made up half his face to make him appear as an old man as part of a makeup test for his new prank channel. The pair pretended that they couldn't get the makeup off his face as it had stained her hands. Eventually he used a wipe to clean it off. The Mandy Demon drama is expected to continue during this week. Turtleboy attends Karen Reed standouts. Turtleboy Aiden Kearney spent his Labor Day attending various standouts for Karen Reed across Massachusetts on Monday, posing with fans in support of himself and the accused murderess. Kearney's photo ops on bridges and on the side of the road during his Monday tour of the Commonwealth showed his newfound popularity based on his promotion of himself as a journalism Jesus and defender of the innocence of Reed. Kearney commented on his Twitter, "Today was truly unbelievable. Thousands of people across the country stood to show their support for John O'Keefe and Karen Reed. I am currently putting together an article with as many pictures of the dozens of standouts as I can get my hands on. I made a date myself and was blown away by the enthusiasm, energy, and support for justice. Supporters of the FKR movement are the only ones who support justice for Officer John O'Keefe. He will never have justice until the sham prosecution of Karen Reed is ended and the real prosecution of the McAlberts and their friends who covered up John's murder begins." It wasn't all good news for Kearney, as former girlfriend Lindsay Gaetini took to Twitter to shed some light on Kearney's alleged darker activities. "I haven't posted in a while, as this monster has crossed the line. What began as a vicious criminal harassment of my children and I has now turned into stalking and horrifying threats against my babies, all because I refused to give in to his blackmail and stop combating his lies about me with the truth regarding the multitude of crimes he's been charged with and the date he committed and has not been charged with, solely due to my unwillingness to cooperate at the time. I have a lot to say about the recent events, and trust in God I will have my time to eventually speak out about it all. But for now, my priority is taking the steps to protect my innocent little ones from the Aiden Kearney/Matthew Farwells of the world and the sick enablers and cult members who think it is okay to defend such disturbing and grotesque behavior. Make no mistake, Anyone who is engaged in threatening, harassing, stalking, or intimidating my family and I will face consequences, whether it's legal consequences in this life or consequences when they one day face God. I used to have a teacher who would tell my class to put on our critical thinking caps when we were faced with a difficult scenario and problem solving. I urge everyone to put on your critical thinking caps. If there was some big bombshells that were going to completely exonerate Aidan Kearney, there would be obviously no reason for him, his defense, and his cult following to be trying so hard to discredit and harm my family and I. If you hadn't noticed, after many delay tactics from he and his attorney, the prosecution was finally ready to begin the process of having a taint team go through his devices. And at this moment, he suddenly comes out with his claims about bombshells and is trying to claim more corruption and tie his case in any way to the Sandra Birchmore case. They then asked the judge to recuse himself, creating yet another delay. There is a reason for all this. There was never any setup. Aidan Kearney is terrified of what will be found on his devices. He knows it's game over at that point. If he had damning evidence of any sort of setup or conspiracy, then it would be pretty simple and straightforward to prove his case in court. None of the other nonsense would be necessary. He lies, deflects, and projects, but he also self-snitches quite a bit, and if you pay close attention, you'll start to see it as well. When you watch the media, sometimes it's much more important to listen to what's not being said than what is. Let this video and the abominable comment he recently wrote speak for itself if you don't want to listen to me. Disturbing and demented don't even begin to describe this. Aidan Kearney is a predator in every sense of the word. Anyone who speaks about a victim this way, especially a child that was heinously groomed and anyone who thinks these thoughts and then proceeds to say them out loud and doubles down when the majority of the population tells him how awful he's coming across, this kind of person is someone everyone should be fearful of. Aidan Kearney is a danger to women and children everywhere. I pray for Sandra Birchmore and her family. I hope she finally is in peace. She was deserving of love and protection and a life so much better than what these monsters robbed her of. And no one has a right to speak about her the way this pig has done. I'll be holding my babies closer than ever before. To the people involving my innocent children, to the people taking pictures and posting pictures of my children, to the people encouraging and praising it, to the people harassing my children, including the porn account for which my daughter's picture was used, the closet baby accounts, to the people stalking my children, to the people posting my children's private information and documents, and to the people making threats to my children. Good luck to you. We will continue to monitor the ongoing situation with Kearney and bring results as we get them. Journalist DeCastro makes prank calls. Jose Chille DeCastro's definition of journalist was on full display again Sunday night as he live-streamed himself calling various police departments, using his southern accent to make prank calls to the delight of his audience. DeCastro has previously been known to call police departments and leave harassing and disparaging messages, expressing his temporary outrage over certain YouTube videos that he was featuring as part of his serious live streams. On Sunday's live stream, DeCastro again called the Jonesboro, Arkansas Police Department's non-emergency line and pretended to be a Back the Blue supporter who was outraged at the actions of former police officer Joseph Harris. Harris was fired last month after an incident where he attacked a patient having a mental health episode and was attempting to hang himself as Harris was transporting the man from the hospital to the jail. Harris stopped the man from hanging himself and ultimately slammed the door of the police vehicle on the man's head. DeCastro, leaving his name and using the same voice, had previously called the Jonesboro, Arkansas non-emergency line to complain about the incident. At least one Discord user who contacted the police department after DeCastro had finished indicated that the department was not fooled by DeCastro's accent and knew it was a prank call. As part of the call, DeCastro demanded to know what had happened to Harris and if local authorities, including the officer he was talking to, could arrest the man. The officer explained that no arrest could happen without a warrant and that the Harris case was now with the FBI and the Arkansas State Police. DeCastro went into his usual prank threat that he wanted to beat up his brother-in-law and asked if he could be arrested if someone filmed him hitting his brother-in-law. Again, the officer explained that the police couldn't arrest anyone without a warrant unless the violation occurred in the presence of an officer. Turning serious, DeCastro later addressed critics and an apparent threat by Christopher Direct D. Ruff, who recently said he wasn't afraid of exposing DeCastro on a future live stream. DeCastro told his critics, including Ruff, that he would not be distracted by their antics and he would remain focused on changing the policies of police in America. DeCastro's second live stream originated from downtown Hollywood, California, early Monday morning. DeCastro said he was cruising the streets of Hollywood in his car when he came across a traffic stop where a man was being arrested and a woman was in handcuffs while a female officer cared for their child. Getting out of his car, DeCastro kept a substantial distance between himself and the officers as he taunted and insulted them. He pled for the woman's release from her torture cuffs, even telling one officer that he would personally chase the woman should she run off after being released from the handcuffs. After the incident resolved, DeCastro watched as tourists took pictures with police officers. Once the police left, DeCastro told the tourists that the police were murderers and rapists and couldn't be trusted before ending the live stream. DeCastro charges dropped in Maryland. It was another win of sorts for Jose Chille DeCastro on Tuesday as charges brought against him by former partner Colin Project Constitution Campbell were deemed nolle prosequi. A nolle prosequi status means that it is essentially like the case had never been filed. In the unlikely event that new evidence presents itself in the case, DeCastro can be prosecuted without double jeopardy rules applying, as essentially the case never happened. The charges stem from comments DeCastro made on his live stream about Campbell in the first quarter of the year. The YouTuber was upset that Campbell had regained control of a Teespring account Campbell set up for DeCastro before the two had a falling out. DeCastro allegedly gave out Campbell's information and instructed his fans to seek out Campbell. Campbell filed a police report, and DeCastro was eventually charged with misdemeanor harassment, telephone misuse, and harassment via electronic communications. DeCastro faced 90 days in jail for the misdemeanor harassment and up to 3 years in jail for the telephone misuse and harassment via electronic communication charges. Campbell also sought and received a peace order against DeCastro that expires later this month. The case itself had been troubled from the start, as DeCastro had never been arrested or initially served with notice of the case due to being incarcerated in the Clark County Detention Center in Nevada at the time the warrant was issued. DeCastro's birth year was wrong on the case, stating that it was 1964 instead of 1974. DeCastro had hired a local attorney to represent him in the case, who was successful in having the case delayed until September. Rumblings that something was going on came in July, as DeCastro denied the existence of the case in statements during his California-based lawsuit against Kate Peter, Team Skeptic, Daniel Clement, and Michael Bluebacon Paratini. Rumors surfaced on Monday that DeCastro had not left California and had no plans on traveling to Maryland. The case had been set to start at 8:30 a.m. this morning, but was initially changed to starting at 8 a.m. this morning before it was removed from the Maryland Judiciary Case Search website entirely. This is a breaking news story. And we're back. That's the end of another episode. If you haven't noticed, we're starting to make some changes to the broadcast that will probably carry over into the rest of the channel coming up. We're starting to do things with our title screens to stop covering up our art. Plus, our art is finally starting to pay off, as you can actually see what we've put so much time and effort into. On that note, there's no live tonight, but we'll be back with Drunk Girl tomorrow afternoon as we're ready to work, and stop having fun tonight. Go team!